Let's get one thing straight. Marketing and branding are not the same thing. And stick around if you want to learn the 5 most important elements of branding. Here we go. Less business, more profits, lean, effective, strategic, and simple business. Let's talk about marketing and branding. All right, before we dive in, I want to ask you to please subscribe, like, and share, and follow me on social media at Rafael Cortez, CEO. Also, look up the CEO Pulse podcast on iTunes and drop a review there. It helps us a ton. Now, with that being said, let's talk about marketing and let's talk about branding, all right? It's not the same thing. When you're marketing, you're yelling for stuff, right? You're screaming off the top of your lungs to have people take a look at you and whatnot. So it's different strategies. It's a whole different approach. But when you're talking about branding, things change. And what I want to highlight today is the top 5 most important elements of your branding strategy, right? These are the top 5 things that you need to have or you need to keep in mind as you're building your brand. Marketing is a one-time effort. Marketing is a campaign, all right? You set it up, you launch it, and then you wait to see what happens. Branding, on the other side, is an activity that's always going, right? It never stops. You're always branding. You're always developing your image of you, your business, whatever you're doing, your service in front of the world, right? That's branding at the end of the day. Now, it's important to see how many businesses out there, how many entrepreneurs go through the whole process of setting up businesses, learning the process, becoming leaders, and little or no attention is given to the concept of branding, right? It falls into the whole marketing stage. Most people will create a logo and then slap that logo on brochures and all kinds of things and then blast it out, hoping to get a good relationship going with the consumers, the clients, whoever they're trying to target, right? That is not branding, it's marketing again. Branding is different. Branding stems from authenticity. Branding is putting yourself out there or your personality, whether that's you as an individual or your company, but it's authenticity of putting yourself out there. Now, how do you do that? How do you clarify the message enough so that it lands? How do you clarify the message in a way that it conveys what you're trying to tell people, what you're trying to show people, and conveys the true essence of who you are, okay? People connect with that. Your audience is going to connect with that. Your consumers are going to connect with that. That's why you see, two businesses, they start similarly. Maybe they have similar leadership, skill set and resources and tools and everything. However, the following and the culture of one just massively surpasses the other. Think Reebok and Nike. Think Church Chicken versus KFC. Think Coca-Cola and Pepsi, right? Those are branding. They're solid brands, right? And the rest of the companies, think RC Cola or something like that. That's marketing. It doesn't really paint the picture. You never see what that company is about. You never see the essence of it or the authenticity of what's behind that bottle, right? So big difference between marketing and branding. Now, moving on to the 5 top elements of marketing. This is what you have to keep in mind as you're building your brand, as you're putting together your brand. And again, it doesn't matter if it's a personal brand or a business brand. It comes down to the same 5 elements, right? Number 1, it's gonna be your ID. What's your identity? What makes you relatable to people? When people think of the phrase, just do it, right? Boom, automatically connects to Nike. That's their identity. It connects with them. It has a mind share, right? So what is your mind share? What is something that's just yours, that's truly yours, and you can come in to almost own it in your space? It can be a slogan, it can be a way of doing things, but it's something that's the foundation of your DNA, okay, as a brand. What is your identity? What is the mind share? What is that one thing that makes you relatable to everybody else? So dig into this portion of it, right? Really, squeeze out what makes you you, and put it out there. If it's, at a personal level, if it's at a company level, maybe even easier, right? Think Red Bull. Red Bull, extreme sports. Boom. When you think extreme sports, it's just gonna be Red Bull right there, right? It pops. So that's part of the mind share. Now, the next thing is gonna be the niche, all right? The niche. What niche are you working in? Who are you going after? Who are your clients? Where are they? Where are your clients at? And what specifically is your service or product. Okay, so who, where, and what. Think about those three. That'll cover your niche. Who's your demographic? Are you going after people who are between their 20 and 40 years old? What do they look like? Where do they live? Are they in the medium price point? Are they upscale? If you're doing, for example, luxury real estate, where are they? Where are these people? And what exactly are you offering? Okay, fine tune that in. What's your expertise? What's your area where you really shine? Okay, that's gonna be your niche. Number 3. It's going to be your promise. What's your promise? What are you promising anybody who interacts with you? What are they taking away? If they come to your storefront and they walk away with something, what is it? Is it a whatchamacallit? Is it a tangible product? Is it an experience? What is it? And what's your promise, okay? What's your promise to them? If they come in and buy from you, they're going to have what? Clarify that, exactly what that is. Don't be superficial with this, all right? Your promise has to go deep. It has to go beyond what's obvious. Meaning that if you're a restaurant, you're not offering, your promise is not food. They are going to walk away with a full stomach, hopefully, but they're also walking away with an experience. If your promise involves a gym, right? You're not just giving them a workout, you're giving them health. And what is that? A healthier lifestyle, a more active lifestyle. What is that promise? What are you really putting on the table for them, right? Now, with that promise, there's got to be a couple of things that go attached to it. One, it's going to be your checks and balances. How are you making sure that you're delivering on that promise? And that's for your internal information, but also for them to see that they have a point of reference to know, okay, whether or not your promise works. Now, the second thing, it's going to be your guarantee. You're promising something, there's got to be a guarantee behind it. And you see this all the time in 30-day money-back guarantee type of stuff. It can be something as simple as that, or you can go deeper, right? What's your guarantee? So now you have a promise, you have checks and balances, and you have your guarantee. You're putting all this together. Now, what this whole thing does in context, it's giving us a better way to approach the people that we're trying to impact, okay? Number 4, what's your strategy? You have a product or a service, but what is your strategy, okay? How are you showcasing the fact that they can use you, your product or service, to improve their lifestyles, okay? That's your strategy. Think about this quick little framework, okay? How to blank by blank. If you're a dietitian, it's gonna be how to lose 15 pounds by eating healthier, right? How to lose, and whatever that promise is. I mean, it really ties back. So now you have a promise and you have a strategy behind it. How to get 1,000 clients through social media if you're a digital marketing company. But your promise has to be attached to a strategy, and this is your strategy. And you simplify it that much because you want to make it easy to understand. You want to make it easy to process. You want to make somebody understand your strategy within a matter of seconds. Whenever they take a look at your promise, there's got to be a strategy behind it, right? Now, the 5th element, which is the one that brings everything together, is the difference. How are you different than everybody else? How are you doing things differently than everybody else? And yeah, I mean, the processes might be similar, but your approach might be different. Maybe you're more of an interactive type of person. Maybe you care more about how they are at an intrapersonal level. Maybe you're better at building relationships than the next guy. How are you different? Now, you're going to highlight your differences, right? But you're going to emphasize your X factor, okay? What is your X factor? What is your X factor as a company, as an individual, as a brand altogether, okay? This is the part that really makes you shine, okay? What is your X factor? What is your X factor? If maybe you have a software, right? A software that makes everything easier. That's your X factor. Nobody else has that one. You might be doing things differently because you connect at a more deeper impersonal level, because you have a different process in place, but you're gonna have one thing that's gonna be your X factor. And that's the one that you want to capitalize. You want to link that to your identity. You want to link that to your promise. You want to link that to the way that you do business, and really hone in your niche based off of your X factor. What is your X factor? It's very important to understand what that is, okay? An X factor looks like many different things, right? Maybe you went to the Olympics. Maybe you've been in the business for 30 years. That's an X factor. Maybe you can get people results in half the time. That's an X factor. Maybe you have a turnkey way of building a business. That's another X factor, right? So think about whatever your X factor is in whatever industry you're in, and really blow that up, all right? You're gonna leverage your X factor because that's going to be one of the biggest parts of your branding. It's going to be one of the biggest parts of your identity. So those are the top 5 elements of branding, okay? It's very important to keep those in mind as you're building your own brand in your business, at a personal level. Anytime we're interacting with somebody else, we're building a brand. You're building a brand with your family. You're building a brand with your friends. You're building a brand with the people at Starbucks. They start to if you're in there frequently like I am, they'll start to connect with you. They'll start to okay, there he is again, and then somehow, some way, they will link that to a brand, right? Now they have a mind share of who you are. It's the same thing, same elements go across the board. You're talking. From a professional standpoint in business, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, what is your brand? From an individual standpoint, what is your brand? All right. Quick recap on the 5 elements. Number 1 is your identity. What is your mind share? How do people relate to you? Number 2, what is your niche? Okay. Who are you going after? Where are they at? And what are you giving those people? Number 3, what is your promise? What are you promising these people? Okay. When people have the experience of your business, what are they walking away with? Now, along with your promise, you gotta have checks and balances, and you gotta have a guarantee, okay? So those 2 other things go along with the promise. So number 4 is gonna be, what's your strategy, okay? How are you delivering on that promise? What's a really fast way to understand what you do, okay? And the simplest format, you can play with this, is how to blank by blank, fill in the blanks. Okay, number 5, what differentiates you from the next person? Okay, how are you different from the next guy or gal? Figure out the top 3, whatever the top 3 things that make you different are, and then you're gonna pick an X factor. What is the one thing that you have that nobody else has? All right, so that's a recap on the 5 elements of branding. Those 5 elements help me every single day. When I'm confused about a product, a new training, a new class, a new coaching program that I'm launching or whatnot, I go back to those 5 elements of branding to make sure that I'm providing everything that I need to provide, to make sure that I'm conveying the message the way that I need to convey the message so that people understand what I'm talking about, so that people understand what I am about, more importantly. 5 elements of branding, super important. Now do me a favor, drop a comment, let's have a conversation. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Look me up on social media at Rafael Cortez, CEO everywhere. And look up the CEO Pulse podcast on iTunes. Let's have a conversation. Until then, stay focused. You got it.